Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 12th episode of Baseball FM. As always, I am your host, Frank, with my co host, Max. Max is going through a laughing fit right now because I had the audacity to talk to my girlfriend before the call. So, that's where we're at in the world right now. Clowning a man for having a lady. But hey.
Clowning you.
um, yeah, so Max, we got a little bit to talk about here, to say the least.
Yeah.
Some of this conversation will be centered around your Philadelphia Phillies and one player in particular. I'm sure you know which one we're talking about. Um, of course, we're talking about Edmundo Sosa. Um, no, we're talking about Cristopher Sanchez and Jacob Misiorowski, the two historic seasons that they've had, debating the sort of the merits with one and the other, and sort of looking at who we think is the better pitcher now, so far, and going forward. Max, what would you like to kick us off with today?
Well, hello, everybody. First of all, Frank, I'm sorry for nothing. Um, that's just how I be. That's just how I roll. Yeah, exciting podcast. A lot of things happening in baseball. We are now in June. We're about midway in the season. Very soon, around I think, mid June, end of the month, it's going to be just pure baseball for a couple months until college football rolls around. And of course, football starts in September. So for me, that's exciting. We're sort of approaching almost the dog days. We're approaching the All Star break, which is exciting. I think in a few weeks or so, ballots are going to be announced. So really pumped for that. Let's go Knicks in the finals, and let's go Hurricanes in the NHL, the Stanley Cup Finals for those paying attention. But yeah, I think I really wanted to start off with a team that we haven't really discussed too much. We had such, I mean, I had high hopes for them, and I'm sure you did a little bit as well when we discussed the team. It's an AL Central team. AL Central's looking fun in general. The Guardians are looking really fun, great fundamentals, along with the White Sox, a shocking team. The Twins aren't doing too bad. The Royals, I think, unfortunately, are playing as expected, but this one team in particular that is just really dog awful is the Detroit Tigers. They were the worst team in the month of May. Specifically, they were 6-22 in May. That's the worst team in that month.
Just
Um,
absolutely diabolical.
exactly. And how fitting to talk about the Tigers. I mean, this is the 16th anniversary of one of the most infamous moments in baseball history. Armando Galarraga, who I think threw that perfect game, I think, my humble opinion, the MLB record should potentially update that. He did throw the perfect game until, Jim Joyce unfortunately made that call. Um, but how fitting we're talking about the Tigers at this point in time. So I think a lot of this could be, and I think you may agree with me. There's a lot of injuries, obviously, with Derek Skubal, Verlander's still down, Casey Mize is still down. So I think there's a lot of people on that team that are just really got the injury bug bad. But to go more specifically on some of the league averages that they have, their hitting is just god awful. Let's go down the list. They are dead last in RBIs per games. They're 22nd in the league in terms of power. They're 24th in the leagues in the league, and just in terms of total offense, like runs per game, for example. They're 26th for hits. Um, they are 26th in slugging. They are 27th in OPS. They are 23rd in home run percentage. Now their pitching isn't. No, they're kind of mid, I would say. They're 16th in the league for hits allowed, 17th in WHIP as Bryce Harper hits a bomb. It's 2-2. Sorry for the distraction. And they also can't steal base. Like they are literally dead last in terms of stealing bases. There's a few players I want to discuss as well, just to go over that. One in particular who we've spoken about before that involved a situation with your team. But those are my first initial thoughts right now on the Tigers. I got a lot more stuff that I want to dig into, but yeah, what do you think's been going on with the Tigers? Is it a front office thing? Is it just bad luck, or is it just a bad team in general?
I definitely don't think it's a bad team. I want to be clear about that. Um, I think they have some very talented players on that team. They have Riley Green, They have Dylan Dingler, who's having a bit of a career year this year. You know, Kevin McGonigal, he's been a little down in the dumps recently, but he's still a very excellent young player. Spencer Torkelson's shown us 30 plus home run power. Casey Mize is back, and he was an all star last year. You know, you want to talk about like Gleyber Torres coming back from the IL. He's not quite back, but he should be back soon. If I'm talking about a culprit right now, I think in a singularity, I was watching Big Inning last night on the MLB app.
As
Uh,
one does, as
yeah,
we all do. We
as
love
one
big
tends
inning.
to do when they are enjoying life,
Did you
but
drink a blue moon?
did not have a blue moon, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a Monday.
Yeah. um, but at one point they were up quite by quite a large amount on the Rays. I think it was like 5 or 6 runs or something like that. I watched the seventh, eighth, and ninth innings of that game. That's when I tuned in. In that time, the Rays went from trailing 10-4 to 10-9. Now Detroit did eventually win that game, um, but that bullpen is not finding any consistency whatsoever. This is a bullpen that I thought was quite solid coming into the year. I like Tyler Holton. I like Will Vest. I thought Kenley Jansen as their closer was an interesting choice, but not one that is without logic, considering he's one of the best closers in the history of the game. Um, it just seems to me like they are lacking any sort of cohesion from a game to game basis. Like I watched fucking um who was it? Colt Keith. Colt Keith, the ball went off his glove right next to the third base bag. He kicked it into foul territory, ended up being a double. I saw them I saw one of the Rays players ground into what should have been an ending double play, but the shortstop and the second baseman ran into each other and they didn't get a single out. So all that is to say, I don't necessarily think this Tigers team is bad, and with how bad the American League and specifically the American League Central has been this year, I don't think that they're out of it. Oh, I know that's crazy to say considering their record right now, but we've seen AL Central teams go on a run for a few months and somehow find themselves in the playoffs, but they they're they're one of those teams that I really think should sell at the deadline, especially given the situation with Scooble. Now, who knows what his market's going to be considering his surgery right now? That's a big question mark. And I honestly think that's probably the biggest question mark left in the Tiger season because like maybe they can make a conceivably mathematically they can go on a run and make the playoffs. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. I think they're probably going to end up finishing somewhere like fourth or third in the division. It's probably going to end up being between them and the Royals for last place in the division, which is not at all what I was expecting at the beginning of the year, if I'm honest. But the Twins, I think, probably could pull themselves into that situation as well. But I think they're better than a lot of people give them credit for. This Tigers team just seems to not. They just don't seem to have it together, really. Like that's the biggest thing I can say. They just seem completely lost, completely lacking confidence. And it's a shame because they have one of the best managers in the game right now with AJ Hinch. They have on paper before the season one of the best rotations in baseball. Certainly has not lived up to the billing, but I still think there's some talent there, and I don't think this is a blow it up and start from scratch type of moment. But it certainly is a humbling one, I would say.
I would say it's humbling. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't know if they'll be particularly close, perhaps, with the playoffs. Um, Obviously, division's out of contention, but I mean, I think if you were to go to the American League, um, not just for the Central, but also like particularly with the AL West, because that's honestly still anybody's division. The AL West is such a really broken league, or division rather. The Mariners, who I would like to talk to at some point, I think they're about 2.5 games up and they're just over 500. I would just say like a game that obviously baseball's tough, and to be over 500 and to be in contention is fantastic. But I mean, when you have like I think the A's are very much in contention, not just for the division or the wild card, along with the Rangers and along with the Astros. You have four of those teams in that division who can definitely make the playoffs. I don't think this Tigers team is one of it. Now they could get hot. They could do what the Guardians did last year and get hot because I think a lot of people wrote off the Guardians around this time and then they got hot. But I just think that this
The Guardians were
Tigers
not
team
this
is
bad though.
that's true, and that's my next point. But the thing is, though, the Guardians were a much more sounded baseball team last year than this Tigers team is right now. Specifically, I think some of the contracts. An example, Framber Valdez is not looking like his Astro self. It's still relatively early. He's 2-4 right now. He has a 4.39 ERA, has a 1.32 WHIP. Um, he signed a 3-year deal with the Tigers, and I don't know if they're going to keep him that long. Um, they may have to save face because I think this is Scooble's last year as a Tiger. Considering qualifying offer that they had for him last year, or to avoid arbitration, that was just a huge gap, and that was a big moment of contention in the offseason. So Framber's not looking great. I expect him to cross up his catcher at any point in time, or to purposely hit batters again because he is unfortunately like that. I think he's one of the biggest, jerks in the game, in my humble opinion. Um, but specifically, definitely for their pitching, I mean, I think Verlander, I love Verlander. I want nothing but the best with Verlander. Hope he does well. Um, I read a little bit today on MLB Network, and I think Ken Rosenthal, if you want to trust him, spoke about this too. It's not out of the realm of possibility that the Tigers could trade him if it's really that bad in the summer, if it's really that bad around the trade deadline.
I mean,
I wouldn't be shocked.
the thing is, this is a guy that they've tried to extend multiple times, and they've just lowballed him time after time. There's no reason whatsoever for them not to trade him at this point. They're not going to get
I agree.
a half a season of Scooble is not worth what the return is going to be for this particular team, right? The Tigers are such a bad team right now that, in spite of the fact that I think that they're a good team overall, it's not going to matter. You can't go 6-22 in a month and expect the rest of the season just to be all sunshine and daffodils. Like, it'd be organizational malpractice not to trade Scooble. Now, that being said, the return for him is probably going to be pretty mediocre compared to what I think a lot of us thought it would be at the beginning of the
I
year.
don't trust this front office at all. This front office is looking really, really bad. It's not AJ Hinch's fault at all. It's the fact that, in general,
Mm-hmm.
um, like specifically, let's go down the list. We talked about Riley Green earlier. If Riley Green is cold, the rest of those bats are going to be 100% cold. And I think just to go down the list, Spencer Torkelson, been looking somewhat better, but he's still hitting eight. He's still hitting at 210. He has an OPS of 710 right now. That mean that OPS is not horrible, but that average I think needs to definitely go up. Javi Baez, I don't know if you saw this. They recently shut him down a little bit because he's dealing with
I'm sure
something.
that's a
So they're
massive
shutting.
miss for them.
Exactly. Former All Star for the Tigers last year, Javi Baez.
I don't know how that happened.
Wendell Perez, for example, is only hitting 167. I will say this last night, I was watching, before Big Inning went on the air, I was watching the Rays Tigers, not necessarily to see the Tigers because just the fact that the Rays are doing good. Um, Dylan Dingler, Riley Green, and I can't read my own handwriting, unfortunately. But those three players went back to back to back, so definitely that's something that the Tigers needed.
Yeah, that was
Um,
off of Griffin Jacks, who was on my fantasy team.
yeah, well, I'm sorry to hear about that. Who do you have this week?
Hmm?
Who do you have this week in fantasy?
I'm playing Eli this week.
Well, yeah, you should win that one. No offense, Eli. Uh, yeah, but I mean, those are the few that come to mind in terms of hitting wise. Um, Matt Vierling, for example, is a former Philly. He only has an OPS of 640, and he's hitting like 200. There's a bunch of players in that lineup that are hitting either at or just above 200. That is not sustainable to be a baseball team. Uh, and you talked about their bullpen. Their bullpen is leading the league in blown saves this year. They cannot hold a lead for the life of them. This is a Tigers team, in my opinion, that's very broken and very underwhelming because those Tiger teams, when they made the playoffs the last couple of years, those guys were fun to watch. They almost made the ALCS last year against the Mariners. That took Game Five. They made the ALDS in 2024, and I think they got eliminated by the no, not the Royals, another team that I can't recall off the top of my head. But these have been Tigers teams that have been fun. Obviously, Tarek Skubal back-to-back Cy Youngs. The way that Tarek Skubal is treating the Tigers is like how Tarek Skubal treated Team USA and the WBC. They're getting that treatment from him. So, anyways, those are my specific thoughts. What I noted down um, for the Tigers. Yeah, I do think they're going to be sellers at the deadline if this, keeps happening.
What
Because
do they
obviously,
have to
what they're
sell though?
doing right
Really,
now, it's not
like
good.
Gleyber Torres. Maybe hope that he has
How's their
some sort of
farm system
output,
compared to the
but
rest of the league?
their farm system's pretty good. I'll give them that.
Okay, well they can trade those guys
Yeah.
if they need
I,
to.
why would they though? I mean, this team isn't really
I feel
worth
like,
buying for though.
yeah, yeah, no, that's a good point. If they're selling, they're going to want
Like
to
Max
keep
Max
those guys.
Clark, who's a top 10 prospect in the game,
They
he's
ain't
probably going to
trading
make
him.
his debut. I would think at least September.
Yeah.
Um, he's quite young. Maybe let him test the waters of AAA for a little bit. But like Josue Briseño, who was the Arizona Fall League MVP a couple of years ago, won the Triple Crown there actually.
Mm.
Um, he's a top prospect. He's injured right now, I believe, but they have a few other guys that are sort of beaten down the door. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some young guys come up and see what they can do. I mean, it'd be better than Matt Vierling, Zach McKinstry, Javier Baez. Like, surely, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else we want to mention on the Tigers before
No,
we
not
move on?
particularly. I want to talk about a team that I think most people are quite fond of. I know your brother's favorite team, the Ken Griffey Jr.'s of Washington State. Max, what do you have to say about the Mariners right now?
Love what's going on. I think, like a lot of people, I root for the Mariners. I'm sympathetic to them. They're kind of like my ancestral team because I have a lot of family that live in Washington State. My dad's from there. Well, he's an A's fan. He does root for the Mariners when they're not facing them. So, obviously, they're my brother's team, so I always have a soft spot for them. So, I'm very excited about what they're doing right now because it was looking kind of shaky to start off the year. Your boy J Rod, who I traded you
I
for,
fucking love J Rod.
he has 10 home runs in May.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
He's been on a hot
let me run
streak.
down his stats for the people at home here.
Yeah, run down
Um,
the stats. I can't access Savant right now.
yeah. So in 117 at bats, he's got 32 hits. He's got 7 doubles, 10 home runs, 18 RBIs, a couple of stolen bases. He's rocking a cool 274, 309, 590 slash line with an 899 OPS. Um, Absolutely electric in the month of May. I mean, second half Julio arrives in May. Whole league's fucked. It's over. It's Jover. Everything's done here now. Like, we're talking about like a legitimate top player now. I hope that he can keep this up because I think we could. I think when things are all said and done, maybe he's over 8 WAR if he keeps this up. He's that good in the field. He just needs to steal a few more bases, granted, but I'm infatuated with Julio Rodriguez. He's one of my favorite players to watch when he's going right. If you remember a couple of years ago in August when he had like a hit in what was like 16 consecutive at bats or something like that, that was crazy. But like this is like an
Fun to
uber
watch in a home run derby.
yeah. Look, like, he's an uber talented player. Um, he's got all 5 tools. He just needs to find some consistency at the plate. But if he can do that, sky is the absolute limit for the guy.
Yeah, you're welcome for J Rod, by the way. But I got
I
Zach
gave you
Wheeler in
Michael
return,
Harris, and he's been pretty good recently too. So
and I got Zach Wheeler. I did get you Max Fried, but granted,
who
I
immediately
never
got
would have.
injured, by the way.
I don't control that. So,
I know. It just sucks that it happened.
granted, before the injury, he was pitching quite well.
Yeah.
So that seemed like a fair trade, but that's it's just sports in general. I can't count you the times how many times I've been burned by fantasy football trades. I'm just going to name my team last place. I'm not going to do like Jalen Hurts, what I usually do, or
To be
Drake
fair,
May.
I
I'm just
don't
going to
think
do
you've been
last place.
last place in either of the years so far, have you?
Oh, I'm going to be in last place this year. I'm going to be honest. I'm never
Max,
winning
have
a
some
ring.
faith. Come on.
When it comes, I have faith in fantasy baseball. When it comes to football, I love watching it and I love talking about it. When it comes to fantasy, I am fucking useless with fantasy football. Do not listen to me with fantasy football.
Yeah.
But we're moving on back to baseball because it's the summer, it's baseball season. Good segue. Yeah, J Rod is somebody I wanted to mention. Randy Rosarena is also hitting quite well. He's looking really good on the field in this hot streak. They're on a 7 game win streak right now. Just walked it off against. The Mets at T-Mobile Park. I almost said Safeco. I'm so used to saying that, but T-Mobile Park. So those are two. And by the way, they called up Cole Emerson a few weeks ago. He
Hmm.
has 6 extra base hits in his first 13 games. So seeing the ball super well.
I like him a
Offense is
lot.
looking great.
He's a great contact hitter. Um,
How's
I
Naylor looking?
huh?
How's Naylor looking?
Naylor he's been a little slow so far.
Yeah,
I'll give him that, but he's certainly a good player.
yeah,
At the very least, he's going to give you a high upside, right? Like he's got good contact ability. He's got decent pop. He'll play a good first base for you. Like there's not much to not love there, right? But
about
let's
JP Crawford, the unk of the team at this point. I think he's like
JP
the one of the
Crawford.
more longer term, longer tenured Mariners players.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the OPSs on this team, though, Max. Like real quick,
Yeah,
I want to point to someone in particular, Mister Boomer Bust himself. Um, he's played 55 games with 168 plate appearances. Sorry, 54 strikeouts to 9 walks in that span. He's hitting 276, 341, 579 with a 920 OPS, 13 home runs, 31 RBIs. Do you know who I'm talking about, Max?
I do not.
Luke Rayleigh.
Yo, that's a
Luke
good point.
Rayleigh.
He's under the radar right now.
He's severely under the radar. This guy's been just hitting bombs the whole year. Now, striking out way too much. He's sporting a 68% um, in zone contact rate right now. To put that in
Yeah,
perspective, 82% is about league average.
yeah.
So this probably is going to come back down to earth at some point. But until that time, like wow, what a guy he's been. Colt Emerson, who you just named, 250, 340, 568 slash line, 908 OPS, 5 walks to 14 strikeouts in his 50 plate appearances, 3 homers, 8 RBIs, 3 doubles, and a triple. Everything that I wanted and more from this guy. Like I bought stock in this guy from the moment he was drafted. He always had great bat to ball skills. The power is a little bit questionable,
Hmm.
considering his stature and considering his approach. But if he can be a sort of a jack of all trades, play the game the right way type of guy, I think that's gonna be great. Another under the radar guy though that I want to mention, another platoon bat that the Mariners have been loving here.
Hmm.
Slash line of 248, 324, 496, and 820 OPS. 32 strikeouts to 13 walks, 7 home runs, 23 RBI, and 10 doubles in 142 plate appearances. This is my second favorite Mariners hitter. Maybe third, depending on the day. Dominic Canzone.
Mm.
I love this dude. He's on a couple of my fantasy teams this year, actually. Um, I like him a lot. He's a platoon only kind of guy, but I think he's a very solid player. And then of course we mentioned Arozarena and Julio. Julio's up to 772 OPS. Rosarena 817. You just got Victor Robles back as well. Um,
Yeah.
and Josh Naylor is probably going to come back to his career norms. And this is all without Cal Raleigh as well, bearing that in mind, who
Yeah,
hasn't looked good at all this year, but hopefully after his injury comes back, starts doing Cal Raleigh things. Maybe not quite to the level of last year. I think that's unrealistic. That's long gone. But
yeah.
he can
When
still
when
be
did
a
he go
guy.
down? When
He
did
can
he
still
go
be a
down again?
pitcher, huh?
When did he go down again, Cal Raleigh?
This is like the second week of the season, I want to say.
I mean, second week of the season, he did have 8 home runs. So there is that. But he was hitting like 167. Yeah. He was on like the 10-day IL list. Hopefully he comes back soon. I mean, he's not going to be like
Yeah.
as crazy as last year. Not to rudely interrupt you,
No, I'm
but
good.
I still have faith in him. He's not going to be obviously the caliber MVP player like he was this year, but I still have faith. I mean, he can still go on a hot streak.
Well, Max, I think we've neglected to mention the best part about the Mariners right now, though.
They're pitching.
Their pitching. Their starting pitching, to be specific.
Yeah,
I'm going to read you the ERAs of their starters right now. George
yeah.
Kirby, 3.77. Brian Wu, 3.44. Now, Brian Wu, I'm going to go into in depth on him real quick because
Mhm.
again, there's so many players in the Mariners that I love. Brian Wu is one of my favorites here. Um, I'm going to list you. These are his starts. So on da, 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 May 1st, he gave up 6 earned runs on 7 hits, 2 homers in 6 innings. Since then, his ERA is in 29 and 2/3 with 39 strikeouts, a 1.82 ERA. He has been absolutely dominating hitters to the level that he was last year when he was an all-star. But but
He was their
he
fifth starter last year
he's
too.
not he's not the best. He's
No.
not the best pitcher in this rotation. And as much as I love him, Bryce Miller, he's the piggyback of Luis Castillo, or however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Um, Great as well, not my favorite. Not the guy that I least expected here. Let's talk about Emerson Hancock, the pitcher of the week. I have listed above me right now. He, oof, like I look at these numbers and I'm just like, this guy is absolutely shoving it down people's throats. May 2nd, 7 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 14 Ks. In the month of May, plus his start last night, his ERA in 36 innings with 38 strikeouts, a 2.75 ERA. Just out of nowhere. This guy was like a lot of people were calling for him to be sent down, moved to the bullpen last year. He just didn't look good. To put this in perspective, Max, his career WAR is 1.1. He has 1.6 WAR so far this year. So that's he came back from a point 0.5 negative, uh, you know, bounce back basically. And that's not to mention Matt Brash, who has a .6 ERA, Jose A. Ferrer, who has a .69, a 1.69 ERA, and Edward Bizarro has a 2.13 ERA. And then they also got Gabe Spearback, who has a .45 ERA or 2.45 ERA. All of these guys, and Andres Munoz has not looked like himself. A 4.46 ERA, 9 saves so far though. I'm a little concerned with him just because of the volatility of relievers, especially closers. But I think he'll find his form. I think if there's really anything that we can point to with Munoz, um, we can look at his month of May plus plus his save opportunity last night. 3 saves, 3 blown saves, not what you want to see. But he has a 3.38 ERA since the first game of May. So this is truly a team that I think is very well balanced. I think Jerry Dipoto took a while to figure it out, but like This is a good team. This is a team that was one game from the World Series last year. So I don't see
Mhm.
any reason why they can't be back to the same heights this time around. But
Yeah, I
anyways,
was going to mention. I did write, Emerson Hancock information before his last start. Yeah, he's 4-2 at 2.80 ERA, and I'm sure it's changed now, but 0.95 WHIP to start off the year. Not bad at all. Pretty spiffing in my humble opinion. Yeah, so a couple of stats that I put down. In this 7 game win streak that the Mariners have, they've given up 16 runs. That's very impressive. And specifically with and Cole Young's looking great too. Along with that, Bryce Miller and Luis Castillo. Ever since they kind of have this pairing, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with them, but they have a combined 100
they owe
one
Luis
point.
Castillo a lot of money. That's what's going on. So they don't want to completely
Right.
tank him yet.
But when they're starting together, they have a combined 1.67 ERA in 27 innings. They are top 10 as a team in WRC plus right now. So they are finally finding their tune. They are finding their tune in a big, big way. Very excited about that. I hope they keep this momentum. Frank, what shall we discuss next?
Yeah. Let's talk about the players of the month here.
Yeah.
Let's I know we have our player of the week stuff up there. Um, we didn't really talk about the player and pitcher of the week actually. I'll just go over that quickly before we expand the scope a little bit, shall we?
Mhm.
Um, just do a quick around the horn for the last week. This is going back to the 26th of May. In that time, pitcher of the week, Emerson Hancock, 12 innings pitched, 1.5 ERA. A couple other notables, Jacob DeGrom, 1.64 ERA in 11 innings pitched. Braxton Ashcraft, 12 and a third, 2.19. And then Eduardo Rodriguez, I know it's not May, but this was last night, absolutely shoving 6 innings, 1 earned run against the Dodgers. I mean, I don't know where this came from, but like I remember Boston Eduardo Rodriguez. I love the guy. I really hope that he gets his first career All Star nod tonight this season. I'm really pulling for him. I want to see that WBC performance carry over for somebody. You know what I mean? So those are my highlight guys for the week. For batters, you want to talk about nuclear? Let's talk about Brian Reynolds. 526 batting average, 630 OBP, 1053 slugging for a 1682 OPS. Somehow he is not the hitter of the week though. That honor belongs to Mr. Hamstrings himself, Ronald Acuna Jr. 5 home runs, 10 RBIs, 5 stolen bases. I mean, what a for 1 week, 1 week of baseball, 5 home runs, 10 RBIs, 8 stolen bases, hitting
Yeah, he really
233.
shoved Greg Weiser, didn't he?
Oh, everybody does that with men on base, though. That's nothing special. That's a Thursday episode thing, Max.
We're doing a sneak preview here.
Yeah. But 333, 517, 1048 for a 1565 OPS. And a name that sort of came out of nowhere here for the White Sox, Tristan Peters. You know this guy? You heard of this guy? I never heard of this
A little
guy.
bit, a little bit.
579 batting average for the week. 619 OBP. 1409 OPS. Includes 2 RBIs, 7 singles, 4 doubles.
Ooh,
No home runs,
ooh,
anything like that. But another guy to
ooh.
mention.
Alvarado almost hit Manny Machado in the head. Holy shit. Anyways, that's my distraction.
One more guy to mention. Jock Peterson. Five
No
home runs,
remorse.
7 RBIs. He has a 1259 for the week. So a couple of guys hitting 5 home runs over the
Yeah.
last week. That's pretty crazy if you ask me.
Especially Jock Peterson. I remember he was like not too great for the Rangers last year. He didn't look
Yeah,
great at all to
he's
start
looked
off the
okay
year, but
this
the
year though.
fact that he's been looking decent has been looking a lot better, which is
Yeah.
great.
A quick around the horn here. Records for last week. White Sox 5-1. Hey, Rock Soxtober, here we come. Mariners 5-0. We already talked about them a little bit. Yankees 3-1. Mets 4-1. Interesting.
I don't
Phillies
care.
2-2. Ooh, brutal.
That's a Thursday episode.
Yeah. And the Brewers are 4-1. Interesting.
I'm curious, what are the Red Sox stats last week?
Red Sox 3-2. That's all I gotta really say, to be honest.
All right, well, Thursday. Um, I do want to discuss. I think it was just announced today. Some of the players of the month. I'll go. I'll go first in terms of that, if you
Okay.
do not mind, good sir.
So do you
Um,
want to do you want to hitter, pitcher, rookie?
oh, I didn't even think of rookie.
Okay, we'll do
That's
hitter,
all
pitcher
you.
then. We'll just do hitter and pitcher.
That's all you for rookies.
I'll give you my rookie then.
You're the professors in terms of
I
rookies.
might as well do it right now if you want to do
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Okay. Um, Bazanarama, the Aussie,
Yeah.
Travis Bazana, batting 311, 398, and 874 OPS on the month. I'm talking about 23 strikeouts to 13 walks, not too shabby.
Hmm.
Talking about 8 stolen bases, 3 homers, 11 RBIs. I love this dude.
He is my second favorite Aussie.
What a month for Aussies, by the way.
Yeah.
Bazana, Curtis Mead looking like a top prospect he once was, like just absolutely shitting on the ball for the Nationals right now.
Yeah.
No better time to be an Aussie right now.
They are my second and third favorite Aussies. There's one Aussie that is my favorite in particular.
Wait.
However,
Let me guess. What?
we're not going to say that name on this podcast. We're good.
Hold on. I'm guessing. Grant Balfour.
Yeah, he's a close second.
No, who was it?
I'm not going to tell you. I think you know who it is. But we're
I don't
going
think
to.
I do though.
Oh, it's a particular WWE wrestler.
Oh, I know who you're talking about now.
Yep. Now we can move on. Um, well, you brought your love life into this by me yapping
I
and
didn't
laughing,
say
so
anything. I'm
you're
not
fine.
outing you.
Well, I
I didn't realize she was Australian though. To be fair,
yeah, yeah.
so there you go. Anyway, back on track after that
Back
slight
on track. I'm so bad at keeping on track.
Max.
I'd be a
Let
horrible
me
conductor.
talk me through your hitter of the month.
I really wanted it to be J-Ron because of his 10 home runs. Who's looking pretty good. Honorable mention, I think, is Nick Kurtz. He's putting up ungodly amount of numbers. I still think he's definitely one of the dark horses for MVPs. He's looking really good, especially that on-base streak that he had for 48 games was pretty good. His metrics are looking fantastic. The hitter of the month officially was just announced. Cody Bellinger of the Yankees, a slash line of 304, 415, 578. He has a WRC plus of 176. Honorable mention as well, besides Nick Kurtz, is Jonathan Aranda, who looked particularly great for the Rays this week, or this month rather in particular. That is my AL pitcher of the month, AL hitter of the month. Speaking of AL pitcher of the month, it was just announced Shane McClanahan. This entire month, he has a 1.41 ERA. Shane McClanahan, you know how much I love this guy. You know how much I love just changeups in particular. He definitely has one of the best changeups in the game of baseball, and when healthy, he is a Cy Young candidate. He's definitely going to make an All Star this year. I think it'd be a second or third,
Second.
but he's looking very, very good. Along with Spencer Arrighetti, if I'm pronouncing his last name correctly.
Variegated spaghetti.
Arrighetti spaghetti, fettuccine alfredo. I don't know where that came from, but all right.
It's good.
But yeah, but he was looking fantastic. He had a great May. Obviously, the Astros pitching in general has had a lot of injury bugs throughout their dominance, and I remember Arrighetti just somewhat recency biased, totally smoked us in the 22 World Series. But
He was awful
with
last year though.
He was awful last year, but he's looking really good this year. In his defense, he's
Well,
looking really really good.
we watched him.
That is the Spencer Arrighetti I know.
The only
Uh,
game that I've been to at Fenway so far this year, I watched him shove it up our asses.
yeah, and specifically another pitcher who I particularly, in terms of pitching and metrics, are great. Outside of it, we have differences of opinion, but Cam Schlittler is still, making his case to be a Cy Young candidate. Um, Another player that we discussed a lot, who was on my fantasy team last year, who we discussed a lot, but I think is still somewhat under the radar. The NL Player of the Month in terms of hitting wise is James Wood, a slash line of 311, 425, and a 587 slugging percentage, or it could be 557. Honestly, I can't read my handwriting, to be honest with you. However, he is looking particularly good. Honorable mentions, of course, are Michael Bush, who looked really, really good
Mm.
this month, and a former A who they traded him or they dealt him last year to this team on the Reds, who was fun to watch a few years ago when they were still in Oakland, but now he has been absolutely raking. JJ Bleday and the Reds team in general is raking, as we have seen. Any thoughts on JJ Bleday or any of these thoughts on
I
who have got so far?
I like JJ Bleday a lot. He's my guy. Um, I was a big fan of him when he was with the A's. Um, sort of fell off the map a little bit last few seasons. It's unfortunate too because I think he's always been sort of a talented player. I think maybe slightly mistreated at times in terms of his playing time, but you know it's never too late, as they say. 301 batting average, 10 home runs, 34 hits, 1.6 WAR, and this is all in 31 games. So this is more or less a month of baseball, if we're honest. He still has it over 1,000 OPS for the season. Um, he's had good seasons in the past. I really hope he keeps this up. Had 2.1 WAR in 2024 and 20 home runs, 60 RBI with the A's, but not quite the same player since then. But I like him a lot.
Yeah, and last but certainly not least, we discussed him, and we will, discuss him later on the pod. We discussed him in detail last week, last Thursday. Um, I'm happy about this. No shocker here. NL pitcher of the month is Chris Sanchez. The big thing that really stands out above all the other statistics, 39 innings, a goose egg for an ERA. I think that specifically speaks for itself. We'll talk about Sanchez versus the Miz in a bit. That is a really exciting predicament of who's going to win the Cy Young, who's going to get one over. We'll definitely talk about that in a bit. But specifically for Christopher Sanchez, best pitcher of the month. I hope he keeps this up because the Phillies are hosting the All Star game in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, America's. I'm not sure what the term would be called, but
Midsummer Classic.
250th anniversary. Yeah,
Uh, it's a semi centennial, semi bicentennial, I think, something like that.
I think tricentennial. No, you're right. It's still no, it'd still be bicentennial.
Bicentennial. What the fuck's it called?
Semi, yeah, something like. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna. I'm gonna twist my words if I say that, and my tongue's not gonna recover from trying to pronounce that word. But yeah, 250th anniversary of America in Philly. Why not have Christopher Sanchez start the NL All Star game? But that's what I think so far. Any thoughts? Any players that you know got snubbed should have won it?
No, I think you did a pretty good job of going down the line. A couple more pitchers that I like to mention. Chase Burns, 30
Yeah.
and a third, 1.19 ERA. Zach Wheeler, your guy, 32 and
Hmm.
two thirds, 1.38 ERA. A couple of guys that sort of came out of nowhere to look at to you know mm, finish with a little bit of recognition here. I just want to cast your attention to a couple of guys here. JT Ginn. They said pitching in Sacramento was impossible, but he just gave you 30 and a third of 1.48 ERA baseball. And another guy that I wanted to mention, Mike Soroka. Michael Soroka, Canadian lad. 30 and a third, 1.78 ERA. So those are a couple of guys that I wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to, but I very happy with that output for them. And yeah, I think the game is truly in a great place right now, thanks to guys like that.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we just discussed this. One of the things that we really want to discuss, obviously, is the National League is blessed with two fantastic pitchers, masters of their class right now.
Yeah.
We are, of course,
Miles
talking about
Mikolas and
Chris.
Kyle Freeland.
Exactly. We are talking, of course, about Christopher Sanchez and Jacob Misiorowski. I'll start first a little bit. I don't have access to Savant. I did look at Savant. I think it's a bit more interesting when you get more into their advanced metrics, but they have similar win-loss records. They're both 6-2. Specifically, they both have ERAs of sub two. Obviously, Christopher Sanchez, with the month that he's had, that's had an effect. But on the year so far, he has a 1.47 ERA.
Mhm.
Um, but the Miz has a 1.65 ERA. Um, the Miz tops Sanchez in terms of strikeouts right now. The Miz has
I think he tops
105.
everybody in terms of strikeouts right now.
I know, but 105 strikeouts and 71 innings is incredibly impressive. And he has a 101 whip right now to start off the year. Just completely untouchable. Along with Sanchez's, whose record is also similarly great. He has 95 strikeouts right now. He's just 10 behind The Miz and 79.1 innings pitched so far and a 112 whip. Now, I want to specifically go here. They're both semi decent pitchers. No, not semi decent. What I meant to say is,
Yeah, they're
they
okay.
kind of approach it.
They're all right.
They're all right. Yeah,
Honestly, they're no
they're
Connor
fine.
Yossi though.
They're no Steve Carlton, but no. Specifically, though, I think some of their approaches there are a bit different. They're great on off-speed stuff. We all know, as we discussed last week, Misiorowski has probably the best fastball in the game of baseball right now, and one of the fast fastballs we've seen in a long time. But coincidentally, Christopher Sanchez has the nastiest changeup in the game of baseball. So they kind of both approach it differently. I do want you to go, if you do not mind, my good sir, check out the Savant for both of these guys. Now, they are, obviously in the upper percentile in the red in terms of stuff, but I think Mrs. Savant really stands out for me.
Yeah, am I going to the Miz?
Yeah, let's go to the Miz first.
Yeah. I think yeah, 71 innings pitched, 108 strikeouts, .79 WHIP. Just absolutely. I mean, call it a blood drive. Looking at that fucking baseball savant, it is a thing of beauty. Now, now that we're here, I want to point to a couple of things that I find particularly interesting. Um, First of all, 100th percentile extension, 7.5 feet of extension. That is beyond elite. That's absolutely insane. If you could scroll down on your page, if you wouldn't mind, you look at the location of his four seamer. None of that is in the lower zone. He's keeping it up. He's keeping it up. You see the slider location. The slider location, if I'm being honest, is more impressive than anything on this page. Look at it. That's exactly where you want to put it every time, right? Only a little bit of bleeding towards the middle of the plate, but for the most part, it is in the lower right quadrant, which is exactly where you want to put it as a right-handed pitcher. Curveball, a little more spotty. Cutter, absolutely dotted, throwing that about 10% of the time. Changeup is all over the place. I can understand why he doesn't really want to trust that one. But his fastball usage is up to 62.7% on the season. So, last year he tried to mix it up a little bit more. Now he's just like, I'm using my elite fastball on you, and I don't particularly care how you feel about it. Um, I wanted
Yeah.
I wanted to put to you real quick.
Oh,
Oh,
Ma.
yes, moi. If I can find it, 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 I can't find it. Hold on. My apologies. Come on. I mean, I could keep going down the list. Actually, here it is. Okay, 98th percentile fastball spin. This is induced vertical break. 100th percentile extension, 98th percentile fastball spin, 99th percentile fastball velocity. No, actually, sorry, I was reading last year. 100th percentile extension, 99th percentile on both fastball spin and fastball velocity, Max.
Hmm.
That should be illegal.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't know what you do with that. I really don't know what you do with that. Like, that's
you
the
give
most
up.
disgusting thing that I have ever read.
You know, this kind of brings me back to a past. Remember Sports Illustrated for Kids back in the day? I remember
Yeah.
getting those at the library at Crescent Lake. Um, They mention in that this was like in fifth grade, so this kind of takes me, this is like 30 years of the past for me. But this happened. I remember reading it because it kind of reminds me almost, and this might sound a bit strange, but this is the analogy I could best come up with. When they were talking about Billy Wagner's fastball back in the day and how it was always high and inside, the writers of Sports Illustrated for Kids um, describe his fastball or batter in the fastball. It's like, yeah, they're just swinging a toothpick up there. You can't hit that. Batters are swinging a fucking toothpick right now trying to hit that fastball. They cannot hit that
I mean,
fastball
it's
whatsoever.
basically like trying to hit a fucking pea up there.
It's
Like,
like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You just, eventually you're going to find it, but it's going to take you some time, and
well,
it's not going to be easy. He's
here's what I'm
one
gonna
of the
say.
most dominant
Here's what
pitchers
I'm
in the
gonna say.
league.
I'm gonna pivot slightly here. Um, as incredible as his fastball is, we're talking about it right now with like tears in our eyes with how beautiful that savant is and how electric that is, right? We're talking about the location of his secondaries, and we're talking about all these things, right? So the run value for his fastball is clocked in at 11 right now. Very good. Double digits this early on the season is amazing. Do you know why I bring up pitching run value, Max? Cristopher Sanchez's changeup is a 12 run value so far this year. So his changeup by this measurement is better than Misiorowski's fastball. And
Yeah,
I want you to think about the fact that we've had several baseball minds on YouTube, on MLB Network, on ESPN writing articles, on Fangraphs writing articles about is this the best fastball of all time? And Sanchez is putting up a more valuable pitch with what should be a secondary. I mean, you want to talk about the best pitch in baseball, you can't not mention his changeup, the Sanchise. That changeup is filthy, beyond filthy. Um, let me give you some more stats here, Max. If you want to talk about the old Sanchise, you want to talk about control. This is a man who doesn't necessarily have overpowering stuff if you exclude his changeup. What he does have is 16 runs in the shadow of the zone. Now, I want you to bear in mind that the shadow of the zone is like he is painting a donut around that strike zone, right? That's stuff that's going to be, you flip a coin and it's called a ball or a strike, right? His off-speed stuff, mostly from his changeup, is 100th percentile in terms of value for his off-speed pitch, which is just absolutely bonkers. Like this is this is a guy that I think if you built a pitch in the lab, it would be that changeup. Like the way he locates it, the way he uses it, the way he shows it to everybody. His his changeup usage is actually up from last year, albeit by a fraction. If you look at the locations of his pitches though, Max, like my God, like talk about how beautiful. Like just keeping everything low in the zone, keeping everything towards the bottom. Like his sinker's setting up his changeup so well. His slider's getting put in the exact same spot. Like all these things are showing the exact same things here, right? And what we're not seeing is just how good he is at keeping everything out of the trouble areas, right? And so, really, I say all that to say, I don't want to bore the audience here with my nerdification, but we say all this to say we're really talking about two different pitching philosophies here, right? We're talking about a guy that's predicated on control and command and pitchability, and he has one astounding pitch, but it's an off speed pitch. You can't really build an entire arsenal around it. This is a guy who's got better control, I think, than anybody in baseball right now. And you compare that with The Miz. Now, granted, he's taking some massive steps forward in his command, which, like, phenomenal for the game of baseball and for the Brewers and for himself, of course. But he's up there to overpower you with everything. He's throwing everything hard. He's averaging like 100.5, I think, on his fastball this year or something like that. He threw over 100 like 50 fucking times in a start recently. That's Sanchez can't do that. Sanchez isn't capable of doing that. But he somehow has a pitch that's more valuable than perhaps the most perfect fastball ever engineered on a baseball field. So, at the end of the day, this is what baseball's so great. You got two guys with two completely different philosophies, both succeeding at the highest level. So, Max, I'll give it back to you. What do you got to say about them two?
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough to say who really has the better advantage because Christopher Sanchez, obviously, as you discussed, incredible strengths to his game. The Miz, incredible strengths, I think, especially as a rookie. Um, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think there's ever been a particular rookie that started off as well in his career entering a sophomore season now than the Miz. It's really tough. I will say
But like
this:
this
Do
is
you
also again
happen?
after 7 starts last year, by the way.
Yeah, I will say this. I will ask you. I mean, I can really go either or, but in your mind right now, perhaps gun to your head, who is the best pitcher out of
Max,
these
I
two
think you
right
know who
now?
this is for me.
Is it the Miz?
Uh,
Yeah,
I've been talking about Sanchez for at least 3 years now.
yeah. I still
I
got the card you got me.
Exactly. I got you a Christopher Sanchez rookie card a couple of years ago, and
Yeah, from the
that thing better be one of
Rays.
your prized possession right now, because
Yeah,
this guy, I listen. Is he as fun to watch as Misiorowski? For me, he is. For the average person, probably not. But you look at how he spots everything and that changeup and how these hitters just. He looks like he's controlling that ball with a string when he's up there. Like to me, I'm a guy who loves command and control and spotting your pitches, putting the ball exactly where you want it. That's why I love Ranger Suarez so much. Because when he's in a groove, he's just peppering the ball all over the strike zone, and the hitters just don't know what's happening. Sanchez is doing exactly that. He puts the ball wherever he wants. And he has 3 pitches, right? Mizrowski, I think, has 5 that he's shown this year.
yeah.
I love Sanchez. I think if you're giving me a long term outlook here, I'm probably more inclined to go Mizorowski if the changes that he's shown this year stick. There's still I
Hmm.
still think there's some command and control issues with him there. Obviously some health concerns considering how he's pitching, but at
Yeah.
the end of the day, both are amazing. But I'd rather have Sanchez. Max, who would you rather have at the end of the day?
Well, I'm a Philly fan, so I'm going to choose Sanchez. But as a baseball fan, I think I'd still slightly take Sanchez, just based on what he's done, especially in the month of May. I think right now, just based on the fact that it's still we're only 2 months into we're only 2 days into the month. I will stay currently, presently, based on the metrics. I would still say Sanchez. However, Miz is up there, obviously. I do want Sanchez, obviously, to win the Idle Cy Young. However, if the Miz wins the Cy Young, I will be at peace with it, and honestly, well deserved. Um, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Anything else we want to address?
I just want to do a show and tell real quick.
Oh no,
Bam. For that.
is that autographed?
Yep.
How much?
Priceless.
Okay, well, How much did you buy it for?
I want to say 25.
I'll give you 30 for it right now.
I need it. I need it, Max. I gotta have it.
You get a
I do have a.
$5 profit, man. You can get a nice coffee for that.
I can probably find you one online, honestly, though. Probably not
Not
anywhere.
bad.
Probably anywhere.
Not
Not
bad.
anywhere near where I paid for it,
Yeah.
though.
I think we should address too the fact, it is Lou Gehrig Day in baseball. Obviously,
Yeah.
Lou Gehrig, one of the
Yep.
best players of all time. 2,130 consecutive games, one of the best hitters of all time, one of the best first basemen of all time. I think this day, symbolizes, just to say, I obviously don't know anybody who's affected by it, but it's good awareness for ALS, a good cause to, do research and end this disease. And I think I'm very happy that MLB, celebrates it, obviously. And I think it's, something that, not just for the stuff that he did on the field, but off the field as well. Obviously, that speech he made, I think it was like 80 years ago now that he's made that
Hmm.
speech to Yankee Stadium. I think it was 1946, I believe, or maybe it was earlier. Um, yeah, obviously the famous speech that he gave. I think everyone knows,
Hmm.
the quote of eternity that he spoke. So I think I'd be remiss not to speak about that. Um, yeah, that's pretty much. I took a bunch more notes, but I know this podcast is running. The usual length, but definitely more we'd like to discuss perhaps next week.
Yeah.
But no, that's just what I'm thinking right now.
Sure.
Any thoughts, anything
Yeah.
you want to mention?
I think that maybe we can table some of our conversation centered around the CBA for Thursday, perhaps, as it does affect the Phillies and Red Sox equally.
Yeah, I will say
Um,
this as a little preview. I definitely think, unfortunately, MLB is going to be locked out. I am right now thinking of some other hobbies I can do in the meantime. Perhaps go back to my true passions of gardening.
what the fuck was that in
Taking
your
nice
passion?
long walks on the beaches.
Okay. Max is filling out a Tinder profile as we're recording a podcast, apparently.
I'm a good listener. I'm a very interesting folk. I have buck teeth. If people are want to comment on that, that's I know I've got SpongeBob teeth. I'm not ashamed to say it. And I watched some movies I haven't seen in a while. I
Lego
don't know. I don't
Indiana
know what I would
Jones.
do with a baseball lockdown. I wouldn't know.
Yeah. I'll probably do what I did in college, which is post on my Instagram story counting down the days using Red Sox numbers. Um, that was a pretty fun. I think I got up to 53 at one point.
Yeah, I
That was
remember when
crazy.
you
To
would
be
do it
fair, that was
before
during
opening
pandemic.
day a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I might end up
Yeah,
doing something like that. Um, but anywho, I guess we're winding down here, and another fun, successful episode, Max. I don't know how you feel, but I think we got a lot covered
yeah. We
here.
got the 12th man now. We reached the 12th man for the episode.
We got number 12. All
Shout
right.
out to my 12. Shout out Seattle Seahawks for beating the
Shout out
Patriots' ass in the Super
Tom
Bowl.
Brady, and of course, shout out to AJ Green. Said
AJ
AJ Green
Green
instead of AJ Brown. Um,
for
you know what can I
Bengals.
say? I miss my Bengals goat.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning AJ Brown. Thank you for mentioning, just like you now have Ranger Suarez, you now have AJ Brown. I'm not too upset about it. Obviously, he's a talent. I still have faith in the Eagles. I mean, Devontae Smith is going to be an incredible WR1 for them. But
Forgetting your
yeah,
first
I
overall
mean, I
pick,
will say
Max.
this. Thank you, AJ Brown. Thank you for, two Super Bowls for us. He won one. He's been great for us. Best of luck to him in New England. I think that's going to be really fun to watch. Definitely want to see a game in New England again this year at Gillette. Definitely especially that Drake May to AJ
We gotta
Brown
go to a
connection.
rematch here, Max. We gotta.
Exactly. Well, this time we're going to bring sunscreen because we got burnt
Yeah,
to a crisp
you, me,
last time we
Eli,
were there.
Brody. Let's go again.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'll be fun. This time we should probably like bring like a grill or something.
Oh yeah, we got tailgate. Tailgate to the
Yeah.
max.
As opposed,
I'll bring my
I think
triple.
everyone else
I'll
can
bring my
throw a
triple
football
OBC.
around. Everyone else can throw a football around. Let's just bring our baseball gloves and throw a ball.
Hell yeah, let's do it. Middle of
Yeah,
December.
fuck it. I did that as a kid. Fuck it.
All right. Anyway, that has been episode 12 of the Baseball FM podcast. Please subscribe, like, comment, do all that fun stuff. Pretty new channel here. Obviously, we're trying to build up some steam. Posting consistently twice a week, every week. Talking ball, couple of dudes. Prime of our careers. We're gonna be here for a good old time. Maybe we'll be first ballot Hall of Famers when all said and done. But at least we can be a very good candidates for the Hall of Pretty Good. I like to think so. Yeah,
Shadow Hall are pretty good.
shout out Hall of Pretty Good. Shout out Jason Kipnis. I don't know what made me think of him, but he seems like a pretty good player. Um, anyway,
Shout
that
out Brian Wilson, Londonderry, born and raised.
shout out Mickey Gasper, Merrimack,
Shout out Sam Fold.
Durham.
Yes, sir.
Shout out Mike Ryan, Wolfboro.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Hold on, we gotta end it on one more here, Max.
Carlson Fisk,
I was gonna say he was born in New Hampshire. I don't know if I count that though.
Jeff Locke.
Uh,
Jeff Locke.
Franklin Pierce. There we go.
Yeah.
Now Jeff Locke,
Not one of our great presidents, but he was a president nonetheless.
known MLB All Star Jeff Locke. Um, yeah.
Screw Kenneth, though.
Screw Kennett. Kingswood for life. All right. Catch you guys in the next one.